Got it. Hello, this is week 12 of the 13-week fiscal program for American Descendants of Slavery. My name is Chief Biko. Today we have Chief Alligator, Chief Quietwater, as well as Chief Blackcoat. Here on the ADOS channel, we pretty much focus on the letter A in the acronym ADOS, which is American. And we'll first go ahead and start off by reading the 12 steps.
All right.
And go ahead there, Chief Quietwater.
Okay. 13-week practical program of action for each American descendant of slavery. Number 1, learn about the estate or estates your family originated from. Number 2, who established that estate. Number 3, what nation and confederacy had jurisdiction over that area prior to the European. Number 4, ask all nonprofit organizations you attend what's your position on reparations. Number 5, they either support it or they don't. No support, no money. However, if they support, then immediately children and adults need weekly classes free of charge about steps 1, 2, and 3, and field trips to ADOS landmarks in that city, county, and state. Number 6, don't support European holidays for the remainder of the 13-week time frame. Number 7, avoid spending money with any small business that doesn't hire your people, gas stations, nail salons, subways, etc. Number 8, all businesses need operating cash. Spend money with American Black businesses. Number 9, all other groups rely on our energy and operating cash to survive. Set the trends of making other groups follow our lead and support our clubs, services, products, and entertainment. Number 10, the US government is bankrupt. The Federal Reserve prints money, i.e. quantitative easing. It also burns money, i.e. quantitative tightening. The US dollar hasn't been backed by gold since Richard Nixon in 1971, the Gold Standard Act. The government operates off of full faith of its citizens to pay debt and taxes. American descendants of slavery no longer have faith in the US government. This is why financial support will be altered, stopped, and redirected. Number 11, teach your kids 1 hour a day about their history on this land. A, have them learn about a Black inventor. B, have them know about our heroes. C, they should know the European that conquered the estate you live in. D, they should know the nation of people prior to the European invasion, militarily and culturally. And 12, practicing these steps will educate us on the land we're claiming America and attaches us to the history and laws of the US government. Every estate American descendant of slavery live in should have steps 1, 2, and 3 advertised via social media, radio, and newspaper. This in 13 weeks, 1 fiscal quarter, will bring us together for our common cause.
Thank you, Chief Quietwater. We'll now go ahead and have, I believe you had the inventor as well, Chief Quietwater?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and start then.
So the inventor that I am going to go over today is J.A. Sweeting. He invented the device for rolling cigarettes. The date of the patent was November 30th, 1897, and the patent number is 594501. It wasn't a lot of information about him, actually, but he did invent the mechanism for rolling cigarettes.
I have a question, if you don't mind, Chief Quietwater.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't asked it in 2 weeks, but what percentage of that industry do we control, or is there what percentage of the income do we get from that industry?
0. And it's funny that you asked that, because when I was doing some research trying to find more information about this person, I was looking at the comments of other people who've commented on like the post that had the information about the cigarette device, and it's like how many packs of cigarettes are sold every single year for years since the 1800s, and he's the one who invented it. So I'm sure that his family or his descendants definitely don't have a piece of what the cigarette industry has produced.
The reason why I asked that, I'm just adding this in, it bothers me that they keep pumping the slave narrative, but How can you create something and not own it? That's what I want people
Right.
to understand. We're giving you inventions that we gave to the world and we don't control it. How do you create something and you're not the management class of what you created?
Right.
Great question.
Everybody around the world should be employees of us. We created these industries
Right.
and we don't control it. I just really want us to think about that. We're not slaves. Our ancestors invented stuff for us to inherit, and we keep pumping the slave narrative. We're gonna smash that later on.
Mhm.
Great point, Chief Alligator. Alligator, great point. I'm gonna go ahead and use for the Dr. Woodson quote this week. I'm gonna do quote 3, and I think this is a great theme for pretty much what we'll be discussing this week, and pretty much just piggybacks off of what Chief Alligator said. It was well understood that if by the teaching of history the European man could be further assured of his superiority, and the Negro could be made to feel that he had always been a failure, and that the subjection of his will to some other race is necessary, the freedman then would still be a slave. If you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about his actions. When you determine what a man shall think, you don't have to concern yourself about what he will do. So again, just pretty much reiterating this, how can we, as Chief Quietwater stated, be the inventors of all of these things, but yet be these savages, these slaves, not controlling these industry. And again, being pretty much at this level of thinking that we're not important, that we never did anything. But as Chief Alligator said, we will go ahead and make sure that we smash that theory today. Chief Alligator, I believe you had the legal definitions.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll read the legal definitions. First definition, American, a native of America. Second legal definition, descendants, one who follows in the bloodline of an ancestor, either lineally or collaterally. Third legal definition, slavery, a situation in which one person has absolute power over the life, fortune, and liberty of another. Fourth legal definition, prisoner of war, a person, usually a soldier, who is captured by or surrenders to the enemy in wartime. Fifth legal definition, school, any institution at which instruction is given in a particular discipline. And the last legal definition, number 6, education and enlightening experience.
Thank you. And lastly, we have the maroon historical points. Did you want to go ahead and just read off those as well?
Okay.
All right.
The 5 historical maroon points. Number 1 was a person escaping slavery, seeking freedom, or breaking the law. Maroon point 2, providing unity and a strong defense came first. Point 3, Maroon leaders were first and foremost military figures. Point 4, Maroons established guerrilla warfare, planting sharp sticks in thick grass. Point 5, Maroons knew their European enemies' language, defenses, and plans.
Excellent, excellent. Before we jump into the Treaty of Paynes landing, I believe we stopped on Article 2. We want to go ahead and again reiterate pretty much verbatim from the Constitution that the treaty is the supreme law of the land, the highest law of the land, and that this currency, pretty much the dollar, is backed by nothing. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. That way, you all know I'm reading this straight from the Constitution, not skipping over anything. All right. So here, we the people, Constitution. We're going to go to Article 1, Section 10. And in that article, you will see exactly what actual money is. Section 10, no state shall enter into any treaty, alliance, or confederation, grant letters of marque and reprisal, coin money, emits bills of credit, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts, pass any bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts or grant any title of nobility. So again, make anything but gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. So the dollar that we know is backed by nothing, and that goes back to 1971 during Richard Nixon's presidency. That's when the dollar was no longer backed by gold. And since then, this has not been backed by anything. Pretty much it's a corporation, which is the Federal Reserve. But as we can see here, that gold and silver are the actual only tenders in the payment of debts.
Correct.
And lastly, we're going to jump to Article 6, where pretty much it just reinstates that the treaty is the supreme law of the land. So we'll skip down to paragraph 2, this Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States shall be the supreme law of the land. So treaties, again, are the supreme law of the land. Anything underneath that, it is pretty much underneath that. It does not supersede the treaty. So any of your statutes, your ordinances, your state, local laws, or anything of that nature, if a treaty if there's a treaty that supersedes that, then that treaty reigns supreme underneath the Constitution here. And we pretty much state that to show, of course, when we're reading these treaties, how the European doesn't even abide by their own documents, their own constitutions. We'll see time and time again, they will pretty much go against whatever they stated in their last treaties when making these things. And usually they'll put it in acts or things of that nature because they know that the treaty is the supreme law of the land. So that's just one thing I want to make sure that the viewer keeps in the back of their head, and that you always keep in the back of your mind that the treaty is the supreme law of the land.
Yep, and just
Go ahead.
for me, I want to go back to the money.
Lagging a
But
little.
it's fake. What's that?
You were lagging a little bit.
We're lagging a little bit.
Okay, so I probably got a little bad connection.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me now? All right, so boom. Back to Monopoly. That's the video or the board games we play all the time. The same thing. Last week, I iterated about how they created that 3D glasses. We're playing 3D Monopoly right now.
You're in a bad
Playing it
spot.
in person.
You're in a bad spot, bro. You're in a bad spot.
All right, well, let's keep moving forward. I'll reiterate it later on today.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Let me see here. Go ahead and pull up the Treaty of Paynes Landing. All right, here we go. And did anybody want to go ahead and start off on Article 3? And let me know if I need to make this a little bit bigger.
Yeah, I'll jump off the porch. You can make it a little bit bigger so we can see it, but we want to make sure everybody else can see it. That's too big.
Too big. Let me go back there a little bit. All right. What about now?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay.
Okay, Article 3. All right. Article 3. The United States agreed to distribute as they arrive at their new homes in the Creek territory west of the Mississippi River a blanket and a homespun frock to each of the warriors, women and children of the Seminole tribe of Indians, Americans. So basically, the first thing I would say here is when I listen to other people's videos, I always hear people interchange America and the United States. And it's like they have their geography off. The United States is not America. The United States is a corporate fiction because Europeans are not American. So what I'm saying here is the United States is basically telling the Seminole Americans that they'll get a blanket and a homespun frock. Can somebody look up what a homespun frock is? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I'll look it up.
And can you say that one more? Oh, there, it's right in our faces. That's what we do. We put it in faces.
I'm gonna try to turn the, do I need to turn the volume down a little bit, or are we good?
It's
You good
like
on
an
my end.
article of clothing, like a Indian article. I'm sorry. It's like an article of clothing, like a what they would call a shawl.
Okay.
Can't think of another word.
Okay. So they'll give them a blanket and they're gonna give them some clothing basically for going west of the Mississippi in Article 3.
I would like to add too on Article 3. I'm not sure. I had to pull up the document, which I'll do as we continue to read, but I'm pretty sure that in those blankets, smallpox or definitely something was within those blankets as well, which of course added to a lot of the deaths on the Trail of Tears that we'll see later on. So it may seem like the United States is trying to do good by providing these, our ancestors with these particular artifacts to make the journey, but we'll see that there's always an end game to whatever the European is doing.
It's like a small coat,
Okay.
basically.
And that ties into what Chief Biko is saying. You know, putting all those little things inside the clothing. Anything that we're going to give to them that they already have. We already had clothes. We already had that. But now you want to give us stuff moving across from the Mississippi River, but now it's tainted with your evilness or whatever you want to call it in order to destroy the real American. Okay. Yeah, and I just looked up. It's pretty much addressed.
And Chief Biko was exactly correct. Smallpox was put in the blanket. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. They basically poisoned them. And that kind of rhymes with what we're going on right now with the whole coronavirus and the COVID. It's amazing how nobody talks about the fact that it's a military operation, Operation Warp Speed. The United States government is the distributor of the drug, which people are calling the vaccine. And if you know anything about American history, and you look at Frank Lucas back in the 60s, the military was trafficking heroin from Vietnam over here. When you look at Oliver North and Manuel Noriega in the 80s, the military was trafficking cocaine into the mainland. We look at the opium crisis. The military is trafficking opium, which is the pill crisis. And so now here we are, Operation Warp Speed. People need to look that up if you're unaware. This is a military operation. Once again, the military is the distributor of the drug. They have always distributed the drug. The only difference is now this is a legal drug and these companies are exempt from being sued. That's the only difference in this.
Correct.
And basically, when it first started, when we were really keeping track of the military occupation, they were giving briefings that most people were not in tune with. The briefings that it is not hidden information, they're not hiding it. It's information that you just have to open up your ears and read. They're giving us exactly what it is. So it was from the beginning, the military occupation. Orders were given by military officials and all of that. So it shouldn't be a surprise that we are under military occupation.
Right. And someone else always reiterates to me, anytime there's a big issue in America, it's always a war on so-and-so, a war on so-and-so, a war on so-and-so, because everything around us gonna be your war station. There ain't other than military occupation when it comes from the European on the bright side or in your face. Because again, like Chief Quietwater said, it's in your face. You just gotta pay attention with your ears and eyes.
Right.
And war on what? Why would war? Because we've been fighting, like we always say on Sundays, we've been fighting since the beginning. So everything that we continue to fight against is going to be a war from the European. But we can continue.
Great
And
point.
not to stop your bill, Chief Biko, but what Chief Choirwater said, I want to throw this in too. Why do quote unquote black people? Why are they acting like it's the boogeyman? Like you can't say coronavirus, like you can't say vaccine. Yes, it almost makes you think these people are being paid to promote fear. It's a military operation. It's Operation Warp Speed. Like.
Mhm.
But go ahead, Chief. I mean, it's amazing how people they don't want to say vaccine anymore, and it's like, what do you? Go ahead, Chief Biko.
They're calling it the jab. But yeah,
Mhm.
Chief Biko, go ahead. Yep.
Correct though. Correct. It's definitely a bunch of fear mongering going on, fear promotion, propaganda. We even saw that I forget what news outlet it is, but I'm pretty sure it's something along the lines of ABC or it's one of their conglomerates that they're heightening or they're exaggerating the coronavirus deaths. Why would you do that? No, why are you trying to paint this picture of something unless you're actually trying to, like Chief Quietwater said, infiltrate something, push something into the actual population. We're going to get people to take this vaccine. They're not taking it willingly. Okay, we're going to force them to do this. We're going to take their jobs away, but they're still not doing it. We're going to separate them. Like all of this, and like Chief Blackcoat said, it's a war on these things, war on drugs, war on the virus, on the pandemic. It's all these different things. So it's right there in our faces. As Chief Quietwater said, you can look up the military briefing on YouTube. That's how we saw it, Operation Warp Speed. So it's out there. Again, we just have to open up our eyes and be willing to listen and understand exactly what's going on.
And just one thing before we continue, it's always going to be a war on something dealing with Americans, because in order for the Europeans to live here comfortably, it has to be a war. We have to have a military to fight against it.
Mm-hmm.
If we want to just prep it all again. Just because it's a virus, yeah, it's cool, but it's in America. So now it's a war on the virus. Because again, we're speaking for Americans, but we're not. So anything war, we will fight it with our military, because that's the only way we can go forward when fighting or destroying this invisible enemy or this virus, if we want to. But I just wanted to put it
Chopping up. Yeah, you chopping up real bad, Chief Blackcoat. You chopping up real bad. Is he clear to everybody else, or is it just me?
Nah, I think it's whenever you're moving in the vehicle, but I think we definitely understand what you're talking about though, as far as just always being a war because they aren't from this landmass. Again, as Chief Alligator said, United States is a corporate fiction. America, we know what America is. We've been living on it since day one. They're from Europe. So in order to actually live here, you have to be continuously have a military presence, have to continue to be battling with the actual people of this land. So when he says there's always a war on something, that's what he means. There's a war on drugs because we're making sure that we're fighting the Americans for this type of resource, things of that nature.
Correct. And what he was trying to say, even though he was breaking up, is if you look at from the point when they made us citizens in 1964, 1965, the Civil Rights Act gave us the right to vote, the right to hold public office, sit on a jury. Right after that was the war on poverty in the 1970s. Then in the 1980s, it was a war on drugs, right? Then in the 1990s, it was a war on crime, right? Mass incarceration, right? Now here we are, mass incarceration, right? Then you get school to prison pipeline, right? Now we're at a point where you got the war on an invisible enemy that Trump declared last year, and he enacted the Defense Production Act, which hadn't been enacted since the Korean War. That was to mass produce these ventilators, right? Then you get Pfizer and Moderna to contract with the military to be the distribution arm. And so again, it's almost mind blowing how ignorant we are, and how people are promoting this. Why would you be in fear when you're a prisoner of war? Why would you be afraid to say anything when you know you're in last place in society?
That's powerful.
You got nothing to lose. At this
Correct.
point, you got nothing. Once you realize that, it's like, I got nothing to lose.
Right. Because now we can look at Afghanistan and we can look at the Taliban. And why would you be in fear when you have nothing to lose? Those people stayed ready and they stayed in the know of what's going on. We have a whole group of people over here on our land telling us what to do. It's the same thing as far as the Americans. We have so many different nations on our land today that it's kind of hard to dissect through the veil or through the facade. But as a true American, why would you be afraid to speak the truth? It's your truth.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to call it black, or you want to call it Afro-American, or you want to call it whatever you want to call it, Negro, whatever you want to call it, it's your truth. So you speak on it as it is. There's no point of being, oh, I don't want to say that. No.
Politically correct and things of that nature.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. Right. Politically correct. There's no point of being politically correct.
Mm-hmm.
One, you don't even get anything from your politicians. So put the whole politically correct to the side. Let's build up to that first. But let's keep going. I know we got a long class and we got something to read, but let's
I'll keep going. Article 4. The United States agreed to extend the annuity for the support of a blacksmith, provided 6th article of this treaty at Camp Moultrie for 10 years beyond the period therein stipulated. So here the United States is basically saying they're going to extend the annuity for the support of a blacksmith. So here again, you need the skilled American as you move him into Oklahoma, west of the Mississippi River. You need those skilled Americans to do your blacksmithing for you. So here again, where's these people from Africa called slaves that's supposed to be doing all this work? We see that the Americans out of this nation called Seminole were the blacksmiths. Y'all want to build on that?
I'll go ahead and build off of that. They're employing them too for 10 years for a reason. We know, again, they're not giving them anything that's going to really be beneficial to them without, of course, receiving at least a portion of it. So while they're moving our ancestors to their Oklahoma territory, whatever resources that they find within that land, whatever they're able to build, cultivate, whatever they're able to create, which we've seen, again, we create everything, whatever they're able to build, they're going to take as well from that. So they know they couldn't build it, because if they could, then they would have just went over there prior and not have moved the Americans to Oklahoma. So they're going to say, okay, these people know how to do things. They're resourceful. Let's move them. And also make sure that within one of those, or within the nation, they have a person that knows how to, weld metal, do things with that's necessary for a blacksmith. So while they're doing that, we're going to take all of the production that comes out of this place, because again, they're still on a military occupation. We'll see when we pull up the map, there's forts all around them. They're possibly supplying those forts with weaponry to continue their expansion west. So again, they're not doing this to benefit the Americans. Exactly. They're doing this to benefit the United States, their corporate fiction.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything that he just said. And it's like they needed that security, which is why they probably put 10 years on there to make sure that they had someone in place to do those things that they needed, that they knew that their people didn't know how to do, because we were the skilled ones that was already there. So
you want to build on that, Chief Blacko?
Kind of missed whatever section we just read or whatever article. So I don't have too much to build on, but I just want for any of our viewers to realize, when you watch the Black Panther movie and they talk about Wakanda, we're talking about America, not Africa, America. Over here was all the inventions and the futuristic technology where it was just like, hold on, what they got going on over here? But I did miss that piece, so I'm not sure if I'm in alignment with it or if I'm kind of off, but I'm gonna let you continue to feel. Okay, cool. This is Wakanda forever. This is that, the Americans, aka Black people. So if we want to, as we grow, as everybody on this channel grows, we went from claiming to be black people to be Negroes to now American. My ancestors, this is Wakanda. So just Wakanda or Black Panther is a very big movie. Everybody loves it, you know, Wakanda forever, but just reverse it to who you are and where you're from. They all have in America. They all have in America. And that's why we're deemed military occupied. They came over this, fuck they here, and let's try to conquer this group of people because they're way too advanced. That's all I gotta say.
Great point. Great point.
I'll pick up. Okay. Okay. And in addition to the other annuities secured under that treaty, the United States agreed to pay the sum of $3,000 a year for 15 years, commencing after the removal of the whole tribe. So that's a catch-22. I'll give you $3,000 for 15 years, but that's only after your whole nation goes into Oklahoma. And so what we know is everybody didn't leave. And so therefore you don't get $3,000.
Mhm.
Correct. Correct. And this is prior to you know, the 1971 Nixon Gold Standard Act. So at this time, you know, those $3,000 could have been, you know, put into the bank to actually receive gold, silver, things of that nature. But as Chief Alligator said, this would pretty much begin once your whole tribe is moved. And again, we're going to see, because this is what Seminole War #2. There's still another Seminole War that's going to be fought and that has never ended. So we know that the whole tribe has not been moved to Oklahoma. So those funds could never be recuperated. So this is just another thing that we can pretty much put in the Excel sheet, the tally, the pretty much the bank statement of what the United States owes us as far as reparations, if you want to put that into perspective as well.
Don't forget one thing I want to add in. At this point, under the United States government, I believe they were using greenbacks. Okay, they were using greenbacks up until the Civil War, and then that government went bankrupt. We'll get into that. Remember, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands. It started off as a republic. It collapsed after the Civil War and it became a democracy. It collapsed because the greenback is what they were using around this time. I just wanted to throw that in. So here we are again. The government went bankrupt again in 1971 when they took the money out of the system. And so now the world is starting to realize, okay, if you just printing trillions of this fiat, right? And talking about a budget. How you got a budget and there's no money?
Exactly.
Exactly.
Throw that budget out the window, man. Keep
you
printing
talking
that
about a
bullshit.
budget. You
Keep printing that, keep printing that bullshit, man.
How you put a budget on trees growing out the ground?
Thanks.
Can't do it.
We gonna
resources go to the you can put a budget on that because eventually that's gonna run out.
we gonna smash this whole thing. This whole thing is fake. The whole thing is a lie. We gonna smash it at the end of this video. This whole political game of this government is a lie, from who they say we are to who they claim to be to what they call money. This whole thing is a lie. I'll finish up. Where was I at? For 15 years, commencing after the removal of the whole tribe, these sums to be added to the Creek annuities, and the whole amount to be so divided that the chiefs and warriors of the Seminole Americans may receive their equitable portion of the same as members of the Creek Confederation. So basically, you're going to make the Seminoles do the blacksmithing, but we're not going to pay you. We're going to pay the Creek. And then you and the Creek are going to have to agree on dividing it equally. You see what they're doing?
They did a lot of stuff that would make a lot of infighting among them to cause division. Fast forward today, same thing.
Right.
They made them niggas into their system. Now I'm gonna give y'all some bread, and now y'all gotta fight over.
Right.
We see that every day now today. Who got
Correct.
the most money near you? How fresh you are? What car you drive? What
Right.
shoes you ain't rocking them J's. You ain't nothing to the average. So I see the game they implemented in the beginning, and it still carry on today.
Like
Correct.
literally nothing has changed. Just when they say the game don't change, just the people.
That's
It's
true.
true in every sense of the word.
That's true.
Well,
New under the sun.
look at groups. Look at groups. Not to stop your bill, Chief Biko, but look at groups. You're taking prisoners of war, and then you're mixing them with minorities, which are all these colored immigrants, black immigrants, right? You're putting them in one group called minority, and then you're sprinkling in some financial resources, and you say y'all divide that.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
We never get anything specifically. And shout out to the Black Congressional Caucus. This is your 50th year in existence. The same year that they took money out of the system in 1971, you were established. You've done nothing specifically for this group.
Absolutely.
Oh, no, yes, you have. We got school to prison pipeline under your watch. We got mass incarceration under your watch, right? But it's the same game. They're taking two nations, Creek and Seminole, sprinkling some money and say, y'all divide that equally. They're doing the same thing with Negroes right now. They'll put a little resources in between the Afghans, the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the illegals, the Arabs, the Asians. Y'all figure out how y'all gonna split that little bit of resource up. Go ahead, Chief Nico.
We made them, as far as the European, really the majority in having the resources which are ours. So like Chief Quietwater said, so we're going to make sure that you're the blacksmith Seminoles, but we're going to pay the Creeks and y'all make sure y'all do whatever y'all want to. This whole shit is ours. We gonna do whatever the fuck we want to, period.
Right.
So that type of mindset, like how can you have them tell you what we're gonna give you that's already yours? It's like somebody saying, all right, I'm gonna be in your closet, but you can't wear your Jordans today. You gotta wear these, or you and your brother gotta split this. That's my fucking closet. I get whatever I want in my closet. So this is the kind of mindset we gotta get out of. Like that
Right.
whole, oh, they giving us this, so we gotta split it. No, all of this is ours. You could take
Right.
this, but I'm gonna get the rest of ours then. Type of thing. That's the
Exactly.
type of mentality we gotta have. But as you see, this has started even here in 1832 with this treaty, that divide and conquer.
Anybody else want to pick up on Article 5?
I'll go ahead. The United States will take the cattle belonging to the Seminoles at the valuation of some discrete person to be appointed by the president. Discrete person. So why the person got to be discreet?
Right.
He gotta be secret.
After the arrival at their new homes, or other cattle such as may be desired will be furnished them, notice being given through the agent of their wishes upon this subject.
You skipped the sentence.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me just start over. The United States will take the cattle belonging to the Seminoles at the valuation of some discrete person to be appointed by the president, and the same shall be paid for in money to the respective owners. Okay. So who are the actual?
Finish that last one, please.
Okay, after their arrival at their new homes.
That's the key.
At their new homes. So who's the respective owners?
You're not going to, first of all, you got a discrete person
Right.
that's going to be valuing your cattle. So
Right.
we're not,
So
that's like you trying to sell something and you don't know who's appraising.
Right.
What's your cattle
The
worth?
value on your stuff. Okay.
Yeah, you don't know who this person is, but then guess what? We're not going to even entertain paying you until you get your ass in Oklahoma.
So that was like the thing that they're dangling in front of
Exactly.
them.
That's
Yeah.
the clause.
Right. Okay. Or other cattle such as may be desired will be furnished them. notice being given through their agent of their wishes upon this subject. Before their removal, the time may be afforded to supply the demand. So it just all seems like it's not just straightforward language. Like they have to wait into.
I was gonna say, scroll back up, Chief Eco. What you got is, like Chief Eco just said, why are you appointing me an agent for my stuff? See, it's almost like we created all these industries that the world benefits off of. Every week we do an American inventor. We own that. There's no court process to get that back. It's mine. I don't have to debate with you about. Like, that's where we are. Like, it's time to take shit back. Like, there's
no going through y'all systems. They're your systems. You could have your system. I'm gonna take my shit, regardless of what your system says. Type of thing, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go through. I'm not gonna play your games anymore. I'm just gonna take what's rightfully mine.
Right.
Tell on myself. I gotta tell on myself. The generation I came up in, that's like somebody taking your bike, right? Y'all go up to 7-Eleven and you see your bike. The first thing you're gonna say, that's my bike. You're not going into 7-Eleven talking about, hey man, who out here? Who out here? No, but I'm taking my shit. And if you come outside like it's the whole crew finna get on you. That's where we headed with all of our industries that we created. There is no court procedure. Forget. Y'all help me out. It's like I don't know.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I'm in agreement.
Go ahead.
I'm in agreement with Chief Alligator. Like you said, we own it. So now today we're paying tax to a system entity to live on our land. Why am I gonna pay you for something that I was naturally birthed into?
Exactly.
And now you got so big-headed that you said, "Oh, it's cool that you was born in America and it's American with all that vision, but now you're gonna pay a tax on your shit, your own shit." So now we get frustrated. How much it costs? $3.57. $3.57. That 57 cents is because you don't know you own this shit.
Yeah.
Facts.
Where you at with that, Chief Beco, Chief Quiet Water? I mean, the more you really think about it, we don't need a study. We don't need a hearing to get our shit back. Like,
we just need to take it back. The same scenario that you said about going to the store about your bike is what we need to do.
Get on it and ride off. Get on your bike and ride off.
Right.
Ain't no questions asked. Ain't no stopping to say, hey, what you doing?
Like, are you crazy?
No.
Like,
audacity. Get on that bit and ride off.
Because look, that's why, and I guess that's watching the video earlier, that's pretty much why they know they could never pay our people for reparations.
It's too much.
Just give us our shit back and get the fuck on, and we'll call it even.
But the bully never does that.
Exactly.
See, the bully never gives your bike back. You got to pull up on them with your partners.
Yeah.
And then you got to be like, look, bro, you got to come out. You got to knock on that door and be like, look, you know, the mama, what y'all in my front yard for? Your robbing ass son. We finna, he either gonna bring that bike out the backyard, or we finna go dead in this shit. Let me shut up.
Pretty much. No, that's it. Facts. That's how I gotta be.
Man, please. What's up, Chief?
We see you. Let me see.
We turned up like this, y'all, just for the world to know. We turned up like this because we finna put a cherry on top of this thing, man.
Oh, yeah.
These cats, man, the
La La Land is getting old. All this,
down.
you can be whatever you can be. Yeah, be whatever you want to be. But as far as the American stance, be this. We are what you think they are. We are the creators, the inventors. We are those guys that birth life into all those things. And that's why when they came up here, we blew their moms. Blew their moms when they saw they could preserve food. We blew their moms when they saw they could transport food from Georgia, as if they would call it, to South Carolina. Oh, y'all got a system like that? And they just took it. We got to play bully again.
Y'all want to finish this article, or you want to go straight and drop the bomb? Black coat. Which y'all want?
We can finish the article. Sure.
Finish this real quick. All right. I'll go ahead and
Okay.
pick up then article.
Okay, that's
Or
cool.
did you? Okay.
Go
Article
ahead.
6. The Seminoles being anxious to be relieved from repeated vexatious demands for slaves and other property alleged to have been stolen and destroyed by them so that they may remove unembarrassed to their new homes. The Seminoles being anxious to be relieved from repeated vexatious demands for slaves and other property alleged to have been stolen and destroyed by them so that they may remove unembarrassed to their homes. So it seems like Seminoles pretty much seemed like destroy any remnants that they had prior to leaving from Florida or that Florida territory.
Well,
As to
break it
that,
down.
let me
Let's
see.
break. It looks like
Okay.
they're being accused. It looks like they're accusing them, right?
Mhm.
It says the Seminoles being anxious to be relieved from repeated vexatious demands for slaves and other property. So in other words, the European got gunpoint to them, and they're like, yeah, you know, you got gold, you got this, you got that, and it's like, I'm relieved if we can just get the hell in Oklahoma. Like, y'all are terrorizing us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And alleged to have been stolen and destroyed by them so that they may remove unembarrassed to their new home. So it looks like they just forced out by gunpoint now. Now they just accusing them of everything.
Mm-hmm.
What's y'all point on that?
Been stolen and destroyed by them.
Yeah, like you said, they were being terrorized. They just wanted to get to where they were going because of everything that they've been enduring this whole time.
And then
Pretty
you can
much.
see where they're ant-dicking them because they're saying the United States stipulate to have the same property investigated. So if they're accusing you of having something that you don't have, right? Now they're going to investigate whatever it is that they're saying you have, and then they're going to liquidate it. So they're going to sell it, such as may be satisfactorily established, provided the amount does not exceed $7,000. So now they're going to take whatever you have left, and you only gonna get $7,000 for it,
regardless of whatever they find.
Yeah, so it was y'all go ahead on that. What y'all?
Yeah.
I'm playing this in my mind. I'm listening, and we're all educating ourselves, but it sounds similar to your Afghan war. We're gonna act like they have weapons of mass destruction, and if you didn't come to the realization that you don't, now we're gonna give resources to the Taliban to continue to fuel this war, to continue to fuel this fight. That they don't got weapons of mass destruction. But now you got the Taliban that's mad at us, and we're just going to give them weapons so we can continue to fuel this war and keep the confusion continuing and ongoing. We can present to the masses this big lie. Same thing they do in the land. How you calling yourself American when you came off the map? You got to present a lie to act as if you can't even act like you're the American because you don't look like the American. You could go back to your early 1900s and put on a black face, but you can't be the American.
Yeah.
But it's the same. I like how Chief Alligator always say, does it rhyme? It rhymes. All of it rhymes. You just got to listen to the tune.
We'll stop at this article. Let's go on and drop the cherry on it. You ready, Chief Biko?
Yeah, let me go ahead and stop here.
Article 6 will stop.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's get to the get down, and let's go into that Library of Congress as we mentioned last week.
Well, all your documents are there to find.
Everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is the Library of Congress. This is actual factual documents housed within, of course, the Library of Congress. And what we're pretty much going to show is that the European was the slave. We were never brought over here on boats. There was no 4 million, 5 million people brought from the transatlantic slave as far as from Africa. These were all Europeans, Russians, quote unquote, now white people. And what we're going to see here in this first paragraph of this prologue is what we're going to pretty much be reading. So right here, from Russia to America, from the most backward to the most forward country in the world, from the place where machinery is merely imported or applied to the place where it is invented, from the land of Tolstoy to the land of Edison, from the most mystical to the most material, from the religion of suffering to the religion of philanthropy. Right here, from Russia to America. So what they're pretty much saying is that they were living backwards. They were backwards. They was nothing. They had nothing going for themselves. They were savages. They were peasants. They had no resources. They had no machinery. And this goes back to what Chief Blackcoat was saying. This is Wakanda. When they looked here in America, we had everything. We had inventions. We had stuff they would never even thought about. So when they try to paint this picture that, oh, we were savages, we were hunting with sticks and things of this nature, that's not true. As you can see here from their own writings, that was how they were living day by day, 24/7, looking over their shoulder because they was living with the animals and things of that nature. Anybody want to build on that?
I mean, that's why we're doing it every week. We're doing an American inventor because we're trying to show the nigger, we're trying to help the nigger recover to understand you weren't a slave. We created the industries that the world benefits from today. And you don't have control over your industries. You didn't inherit what your ancestors invented because you think you're something that you were not. They literally traded places with us. It says it right here, to the place where it is invented. They were coming here because this was the new world. There was no HVAC units in Europe and Africa. There was no refrigerator. There was no dryer. There was no washer. There was no 3D glasses. We invented that here. And it's amazing. It's amazing how when we don't give ourselves credit, how we're really dishonoring our ancestors because they invented this for us to inherit. And it's like we're stopping our inheritance every time we say we was in the bottom of a slave ship. Mm-hmm. Let's go to that next paragraph. It gets realer. We're getting ready to drop a bomb.
Russia and America are the eastern and western poles of thought. Russia is evolving as the greatest artistic, philosophical, and mystical nation of the world, and Moscow may be said already to be the literary capital of Europe. America is showing itself as the site of New Jerusalem, the place where a nation is really in earnest in its attempts to realize the great dream of human progress. Russia is the living East. America is the living West, as India is the dead East and Britain is the dying West. Siberia will no doubt be the West of the future. So as you can see here, okay, keep going.
Let's push through because we want
to. For one who knows Russia will, well, America is full of a great revelation. The contrast in nation and national spirit is so sharp that each helps you to see the other more clearly. The American people are now on the threshold of a great progressive era. They feel themselves within sight of the realization of many of their ideals. They have been hampered badly by the trust in the bosses and the corrupt police, but they are now proving that these obstacles are merely temporary anomalies caused by the overwhelming sudden growth of population and prosperity. A few years ago, it could with truth be said that material conditions were worse in the United States than in the old world. But it has been clear all the time that the corruption existence in the country was truly foreign to the country's temper.
You want to build on it? Well, you can build on that now. I wanted you to read the whole thing so we can understand what the Europeans are saying. They're saying, go ahead, you can build on what you just read.
Pretty much, America was the the land. That's why they call it the New World. It's something that they never seen before.
From their perspective.
From their perspective.
Europe.
Correct.
Right.
Coming from Europe, coming from that area of the world. They was never seen any of the inventions, people living in abundance as they saw here.
And, you know, the European will tell its truth in documents because they feel like no one will ever figure it out. But they write their journals. They have journals. They document everything. They account for everything. So they have to tell what's being at see or what's being at truth, and what's the real story right now. And they tell us right now, the name of this article is, it's not on here right now, but it's something immigrants.
Poor
Immigrants to America.
Yep. With poor immigrants to America.
Poor immigrants to America. We ain't never heard that. I thought we was just all immigrants from Africa. Now we got somebody else come. When y'all come in the history books.
Oh, it get worse. It get worse.
Yeah.
Chief Biko, go ahead and
Let's
get
go
worse.
ahead and see where our police officers come from. The common citizen is becoming the watchdog of the police service. The common citizen is becoming the watchdog of the police service. Tammany has fallen. Women are getting the suffrage state by state. The nation is unanimous in its cry for a pure state, a clean country, and an uncorrupted people. All diseases are to be healed. Couples who wish to be married must produce health certificates. The mentally deficient and hereditary criminals are to be segregated. Blue books, or rather what the Americans call white books, are going to form the Bible of a new nation. The day is going to be rationally divided into 8 hours of work, 8 hours of pleasure, 8 hours sleep, or rather 8 hours looking at machinery, 8 hours pleasure, 8 hours sleep, for machinery is going to accomplish all the ugly toil. So pretty much what this is saying is that these people who they're bringing in, they're going to be the watchdogs for the police services. So now we see today why we are treated how we are. They brought these immigrants, these non-Americans, to overlook us. That's what the immigrants are being brought in here for. So as we go back to how we're taking in Afghanistan refugees, why is that? To supplant what we were. So all of this is going to be continue to come forward. Then as we look here, diseases. Couples who wish to be married must first produce health certificates. Ellis Island was probably one of the nastiest places because you have these people being brought over here with these diseases that we didn't have as Americans. We were cleanly people. They were living with their animals. We know this because of the Dark Ages. Before Moors came over there to teach them how to actually bathe and live with themselves, they were living with their animals. So this is the type of stuff we're talking about.
So let's go back to the Militia Act, and let's understand that the occupation started with the militia.
Good point.
And then as the peasants or the poor immigrants or the slaves, let me say it correctly, as the European slaves were coming from Europe, Russia, Italy, all those European countries, the common citizen is becoming the watchdog of the police service. That first sentence. Can you highlight that? Well, I don't know if you can highlight that document.
And then the entire piece right there is the blueprint of how we live today.
Right.
They gave us the game. It's the entire blueprint.
Right. Right. The common citizen. So when they send their peasants over here, they automatically understand if the police don't see it, I'm going to use my eyes to be the watchdog for them because I'm living my best life. And then look where it says all diseases are to be healed. So whatever they came over here with, we already had the voodoo in we had
Correct. And that just kind of this sentence here, all diseases are to be healed. Couples who wish to be married must produce health certificates. What health certificates are being provided from these Afghan refugees?
Nothing.
Kind of put it in perspective. We're just taking on these people. We're supposed to be in a pandemic where this Delta virus is now spiking, but we're taking on people who we have no documentation over.
But
Go ahead.
No. You got to understand, where are they putting these people? They're putting them amongst prisoners of war amongst us. So whatever diseases that they're bringing from Afghanistan, we're going to get infected by it because we're going to be the closest ones to them. So it's almost like putting smallpox in the blankets again.
Correct.
We're going to dump them on y'all.
Correct. And whatever don't kill them, then damn, we're going to take, again, going back to, I guess, even like cells and our cell structure, Henrietta Lacks. Shit. Why is this, if they didn't kill them, And then we
Right.
could use their shit to make sure it can heal us. Because we know if we put them in our population, we're wiped out. Because we don't have
Right.
that immunity built up. So let's test
Right.
it on them. It's gonna wipe them out. And if those who don't wipe out, now we're gonna have them as test subjects, basically, type of thing.
Right.
So we can just see how everything is snowballing. Go
Right.
ahead, Chief
And
Blacko.
let's go back into the Afghan refugees coming over. Let's go grab another group of people that has faith in this system, because the average American is now waking up to what we're doing, to
Mhm.
who's being occupied. Let's bring a different group that ain't caught on just yet. Let's paint Walt Disney World to them so they can come in and have faith in the dollar, because they're no longer getting bombs dropped on them.
Mm.
They're no more. They're no longer being told to be inside their houses at 7:55, or
Wow.
you'll be shot.
They
So now
have
they got
some sense
super
of
faith.
freedom.
Now you got super faith in this government when it's all fictitious. They ain't giving you no gold and silver.
And
It's
now who
all
will become the new
irrelevant.
watchdog?
Right.
Now
Right.
who became
Now
the
who
new
becomes the new
watchdog?
watchdog? Correct.
Mhm.
You
Great
took the
point.
motherfucking words out my mouth. Excuse my language for all your you know.
Oh, man,
But
we
no,
passed
that's a great
that. We
point.
prisoners of war. We passed movie swinging. We
Exactly.
passed it.
Exactly.
Correct. But let's go in right here where
We got one more page, or no?
yeah, we got one more page, but I just right where it says the day is going to be rationally divided
Yeah.
into 8 hours work, 8 hours pleasure, 8 hours sleep, or rather 8 hours looking at machinery, 8 hours pleasure, 8 hours sleep. For machinery is going to accomplish all the ugly toil. The European is admitting all that toiling that we doing in Europe, working 24 hours a day, sun up, sun down. We don't do that now in America. The
Right.
Don't do that no more.
They
That's
don't
your
invent
job.
machine. No, the American has invented machines. Now we can just look at the machine do the work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They were the, but see, now
Mm-hmm.
here we go. You ready for this? They were the slave because he's bragging on we ain't got to work all day no more. We can use machines in America. Now watch this. Everybody is to be well dressed, well housed, comfortable. America is raging against drink, against the exploitation of immigrants, against the fate of the white slave.
Mm.
Who was the slave, y'all?
Mic
And
drop.
again,
Against
Right.
drink, against the exploitation of immigrants, and against the fate of the white slave. Who was the slave, y'all?
says it
It's
right
The
there.
said in
European,
black and white.
European.
Yeah.
I
the
ain't white.
Russian, the European, the
Mhm.
Russian, Serbian.
Slaves.
They were slaves. They were the
Slaves.
slaves. They were the slaves.
Wow.
They had them doing all their extra work in European countries, while the Americans was already fronting it 10 times faster than they could ever do it.
Right.
Mhm.
And it just goes back to the American inventor again. We don't even run those industries, but we
Right.
created those things. And like you said, 8 hours of machinery, 8 hours of sitting in front of the computer, 8
Right.
hours of working on these different
That's
things.
the
We
American
created,
way life now.
they took our inventions, made it more easily accessible for them to do whatever they need to do. And like you said, they're bringing in these immigrants to take those jobs, to be the watchdog. So as Chief Alligator always says, history doesn't rhyme, history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. They're doing the same thing, but different players, as Chief Quietwater stated.
So let's finish this last paragraph just to now that we see against the fate of the white slave, against anyone who has done anything immoral, it will naturally expel a Russian genius like Gorky. It makes great difficulty of admitting to its shores anyone who has ever been in prison. So they're talking about America. America doesn't really like people who've been in prison, right? It is so in earnest about the future of America that it has set up what is almost an insult to Europe. The examination of Ellis Island. Anyone who has gone through the ordeal, here we go. Anyone who has gone through the ordeal of the poor immigrant, as I did, going into America with a party of poor Russians in the steerage. Steerage is the bottom of the ship. Okay, so when they draw images of us stacked at the bottom of the ship, he's admitting they were in the bottom of the ship.
Wow.
And has been medically examined and clerically cross-questioned about his life and ethics, knows that America is a materialist and progressive country, and that she is no longer a harbor of refuge for the weak, but a place where a nation is determined to have health and strength and prosperity. So here we have.
Up or am I losing?
No, you're good. Here we have peasants. Here we have Russian peasants admitting they were in the bottom of ships coming into Ellis Island. My question to the Black scholars who always want to promote the transatlantic slave trade. Yes, there was an Atlantic slave trade, but it was coming from Europe.
Right.
Correct.
And
Correct.
That's the truth.
And that'll mess up a lot of your scholarly people or a lot of your educated or indoctrinated people, because now they gotta reverse the whole thing. But yes, you weren't slaves. Chief Alligator says it all the time. How were you a slave, but you invented the refrigerator? You know how there's so many systems that go into to make food refrigerate. One of those slaves over here. This is Wakanda. Again and again and again, we gotta drill that in. I know I say that only because that's what we kind of side with. We kind of side with that movie because it's very inspirational. That was us. All respect to the brothers and sisters in Africa, but they're talking about the American. Even Africans know they got immigration papers. They know they got it. Yeah, I got my paperwork at the crib.
Right.
Exactly.
When you ask the average American, where's your paperwork stating that you're a U.S. citizen or you're an immigration you're part of immigration through the United States system?
We don't have
You
that.
ain't got none.
Exactly.
You just like, I got my social security, I got my birth certificate. That's through the hospital.
Right.
So you were born here?
Hold on.
You had to get a green card, not a visa.
You said hospital. What is a hospital? It's a military facility. You're born. When you're born in a hospital, bro, you're born on military property. You're under military occupation. Can you pull back up the document one more time, just so the world see that we're coming out the Library of Congress?
Oh yeah.
And I just want to their document, and we've heard this all our life. To keep a person a nigga.
Okay.
Scroll up past the document, scroll to the top of the page so they can see. Where is this at, Chief Biko? Library of Congress, right?
Library of Congress.
You want to hide something from a nigga? Where do you put it at? Where do you hide it?
A library of books.
And a books.
So all you scholars out there, we're looking at this document, and it's clearly. Can you scroll to the top of it, Chief Biko, the top of the page that we were just reading?
Shoot. Can you see it?
Well, the top of the page we're reading, not the Library of Congress, but the page itself.
Okay, hold on.
Yes, scroll to the top.
The title.
A little bit. You see where it says the second sentence, against the fate of the white slave? So to all the scholars out there, man, why is it that we all in the Library of Congress pulling up records that prove they were the slaves?
Right.
I'm not your nigga.
Huh.
Because I'm gonna read your books.
Exactly.
I'm not your nigga.
And I just want to throw one thing in there. Whenever we go see our grandfather or grandmother or whoever is sickly during a time, go into the hospital and just look at all these pictures on the wall. Chief Alligator just said something super important that'll not wake us up, but make us aware of our occupation or aware of our circumstances at the time. When you go into those hospitals, you don't see nobody American or quote unquote black on those walls. You see a lot of Europeans. You just said something very important. Those are military facilities.
Yes.
And how did they get all this medicine and figure out polio or figure out syphilis? It was using black bodies coming to us so we can figure out how, by using your body,
And
People
that
that knew how
goes
to be clean, the people that know how to put on shoes.
right. And that goes back to if you think about your great grandparents, some of our grandparents, they didn't know how old they were because they were not born in hospitals.
Right.
Yeah, so that goes to show you too that they
So
were
time is
from this
irrelevant.
land. Right.
Well,
So-
well,
Right.
Chief Quietwater just said something, and if you think about it, our parents, which would be your grandparents, right? Because we're so Chief Quietwater and myself can be your parents, right? So my grandparents weren't born in hospitals
Right.
because they were not citizens of the United States.
Right. Right.
So they were born color purple style. They had midwife, what they call them?
Midwives.
Midwives.
See that's what your generation gets. See, this is where your grandparents, due to their self-esteem issues, they don't want to admit that generation wasn't born in hospitals. You weren't a human. You really got to understand that. You couldn't go to a hospital until
under their system. Under their
you couldn't go to a hospital.
Under their jurisdiction. Right. You weren't looked at as human because you invented all of these inventions. To them,
they were alien. They were alien to them.
You were
Great
alien.
point.
You were, oh snap. How did y'all figure the light bulb out? How did y'all figure out the railroad system out? How did you figure out the toilet system and drive pipes up under the ground to push it into one of the rivers? How did y'all do that? They thought we were aliens. We weren't citizens. They had to write up. They didn't know. Now we're getting smarter and smarter. Now they realize, like, oh damn, they were just like us, but they were just far more advanced. They were already on that type of time, working in court systems, working in commerce, working in whatever you want to call when you do your day-to-day activity in life, exchanging a good for another good. We were already doing that.
I think this debunks it, and I like how you got it sitting up there, Chief Biko, so people can see that. Again, we'll never see a real image of people people who look like us on a slave ship. They always show us drawings.
Correct.
A drawing.
You're literally seeing at the Library of Congress that Russians know, Germans know, Irish know, they know.
Hell, the History Channel know. I'm gonna pull up something right here. The History Channel know. Look, we going back to Ellis Island where they was talking about. Look, they got it all. They got a whole timeline of it, man. I'll skip down to this paragraph where it just says here, nearly 5 million people will arrive from Northern and Western Europe over the next 45 years. Castle Guard, one of the first state-run immigration depots, opens at a battery in Lower Manhattan in 1855. The potato famine that strikes Ireland. This is 1845 to 52. We're reading the Treaty of Paynes Landing, which is 1832. Leads to immigration of over 1 million Irish alone in the next decade.
1 million.
1 million Irish alone. And they
By
say
themselves.
nearly 5 million people within this. So this is itself is showing you who the slaves were, who those 4 to 5 million people that were brought on transatlantic slave, who they were. They were white people. They were white people. And the documentation is in Ellis Island.
Hell.
And we're going to read that Homestead Act as we go through the timeline. But you see the next paragraph, concurrently, large numbers of Germans, political and economic unrest. Rapid settlement of the West begins with the passing of the Homestead Act in 1862. Attracted by the opportunity to own land, more Europeans began to immigrate. We have to understand our ancestors didn't look at owning land.
Correct.
We looked at that as that's God. Like
exactly.
But
We just
remember,
here to till the land.
But when we don't have nothing, when you bring people who don't have nothing, it's mine.
Exactly. Exactly. Nah, man, we gonna end this shit here, man. We got the Naturalization Act, and this in itself is gonna tell you how they are U.S. citizens. So I just want to read this here. Let me know if y'all can see. A bill to establish a uniform rule of naturalization and to enable aliens to hold lands under certain restrictions.
Enable who?
And hold on, so we say enable aliens to
Wow.
hold lands under certain restrictions, be it enacted by the Senate and House of the Representatives
Wow.
of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that any alien other than an alien enemy, being a free white person who shall have resided within the limits and under the jurisdiction of the United States for the term of 2 years, may be admitted to become a citizen thereof on application to any common law court of record in any of the states wherein he shall have resided for the term of 1 year at least, and making proof of the satisfaction of such court that he is a person of good character, and taking the oath of affirmation prescribed by the law to support the Constitution of the United States, which oath or affirmation such court shall administer, and the clerk of such court shall record such application and the proceedings thereon. And thereupon such person shall be considered as a citizen of the United States, and the children of such person so naturalized dwelling within the United States, being under the age of 21 years at the time of such naturalization, shall also be considered a citizen of the United States. And the children of the citizens of the United States that may be born beyond sea or out of the limits of the United States shall be considered as a natural born citizen.
So they done lost their mind.
You are the European.
Right.
And you're just citizens. And like you said, Alligator, they done lost their mind of anybody who's not even born on this damn land can classify as being born on this land. But again, this is their corporate fiction, which is the United States. But this is itself shows you that they are not Americans. They never were, they never will be. Their documents show that. So why do we give them this power? Why do we give them the opportunity to even spit that shit out their mouth to say that I'm the real American? No,
Right.
Your documents show otherwise. We just brought up 3 documents: Library of Congress, an actual U.S. Capitol. This is government sanctioned websites. Like, this is stuff that everyone can pull up.
Hey, bro, I have to say we went a little long tonight, but I have to say, man, and this goes for Chief Biko, Chief Black Coat, Chief Quiet Water. This has probably been one of the best years of my life to recover with a group of people and realize that we are the American, and realize that our ancestors were not slaves. Our ancestors may have been prisoners of war. They may have been in a prison camp. That's not slavery.
Right.
It's more people in slavery now than it was in the 1800s. Let me say that one more time for the slow people in the back of the class.
Say it again.
It's more people enslaved now, i.e. locked up in prison, than there was on plantations in prison in the 1800s. Thanks to Joe Biden.
You can fact check that. You can fact check that.
It's more people incarcerated right now.
I'm telling you right here.
So I'm glad that we did this, man. And I'm gonna ask y'all right before we close, do y'all want to continue to do this or y'all want to stop?
What you want, Ice?
I think we got to. We
People
got to
need to
continue.
know.
Yeah.
The more people I meet and I have small conversations with them, you can tell the recovery is needed. We need to recover. We're so stuck on black. Black got us blindfolded. No, ma'am, take the blindfold off. No, sir, take the blindfold off. You are the American being occupied by Europeans, Irish, whoever they want to claim to be. Paynes, French, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
they
matter.
are on your land, and they are saying all of this is ours now. They just took your bike and they riding out down the street on it. And you standing there with your lollipop looking like
waiting for them to return.
I don't know how to get it back. Chase the bike down by reading the documents, and you say, "Hold on, I got the receipt to that bike."
Right. Right.
That ain't yours.
It's imperialism, man.
They called you aliens. We just had said that. We just had went into that before we read this document about how they thought we were out of this world. Now you're an alien if you didn't coincide with their United States government structure.
What's your
You're,
thought?
you're out of this world.
No, I ain't want to stop your video. Do you think we should stop Chief Quietwater, or do you think we should keep going?
No, we can keep going.
No. I'm talking about week after week.
Yeah. Keep
For
going.
sure.
Keep
because
You don't think it's too much
this
truth?
is all. This is
No.
Nah,
it's recovery.
our
Now
people been so starved for it, man. They got a large appetite, I feel.
I like to use Chief Alligator's. I like to use his story or his entire logic around it. You go to AAA meetings to recover. When you got a problem, you go to a AAA meeting to recover. You go sit down and you talk to somebody, and they pretty much tell you about yourself. We're telling Americans about themselves. This is recovery. The AAA meeting don't stop until all Americans understand you're the American. You're not from. Shout out to the brothers and sisters in Africa. We're all melanated beings, meaning we're children of the Most High, children of the Sun. But as far as it goes on this land, we're the gods. We're the creator. This is all ours, and we're paying taxes on stuff that belongs to us. It's blowing my mind now doing all this recovery. Like, damn, I really got to pay. I really got to even pay for it. I got to pay to wash my clothes. Damn, I made it. I'm pretty sure I didn't write in that blueprint or that engineer plan that, okay, as soon as you get done, as soon as you want to start washing your clothes, insert 25 cents. Oh, I didn't write that. That's some other shit. I made it. I was supposed to just throw my clothes in there, shut it up, push start, and watch it go.
Right.
But this is what it is. Yeah, this is what it is. So no, we can't stop yet. Not yet. Not until everybody say what we saying.
6 steps of recovery.
You made it sound real cute about recovery, but what you're really saying is we're a sick group of people. And to recover is to get back to normal. You can recover financially, you can recover, in our case, from our history. But yeah, we're sick. We're walking around claiming a color. We're walking around claiming a color and believing that we were in the bottom of a ship. But you got all these documents of all these industries you created. And then when you put it in front of people, they don't want to believe it. They're like, no, that's not true. I'm a slave. And it's like, wow, you know what?
It's right here.
It is not
right
hidden. It's right here in front of us. It is. We are reminded of it on a daily basis, and
I'll be in Congress.
That's a sickness.
It's a sickness.
Definitely
You know
a
it
sickness.
is. It is. It is, because you can even see the pushback from Americans when you say, "Hey, man, you're American," and they're like, "No, I'm black." What do you mean?
Right. Well, reverse it. No, reverse that. Say you're European. Say you're European, and I whisper in your ear, yo, check this out. When you get over there in America, you got to play the game. And you're like, what game? The Americans think that they were slaves. They don't know that. So the game is when you go over there, they're going to think you're supreme. And they all know. That's why they walk around, you know. But then, here's the last thing, we're going to shut it down. The next time you run up on a quote unquote white person, ask them, where you from in Europe?
They got the answer.
They will tell you.
And they got an answer. They ain't gonna say Georgia. They're not gonna say New York. They're not gonna say New Hampshire. They're gonna say, oh, well, my great grandparents,
from Germany.
My grandma, and it's like, oh, okay. Well, where are these Americans that they talk about sometimes in history books? Where are those natives? On your reservation camps, staying hush hush. Staying out of the way. I'm staying out of the way. That don't help you, my boy. That don't help you. You just gonna continue to, be comfortable in your demise. If we want to go back to Grandmaster J. Yeah, we know Grandmaster J. We want to go back to, we comfortable in the demise. How are we comfortable with a demise? Do we know what that means? We good? We're not good. And this is what recovery is for. So we can't stop because it's for the people. You know, we they studying reparations. We studying it too.
They ain't studying it, but we got an hour and a half in. It might not upload. We gotta shut it down because we gotta try to upload it.
Gotcha. You said it might not upload, but
It might not upload at an hour and a half. I hope it do because we.
Hey, if Taj Tariq can get 2.5, we can get an hour and a half.
Man, we exposed. I like how you got this sitting up there, Chief Biko, because it's for them to see right here against the white slave. It is what it is. That's coming out your Library of Congress. So we're gonna shut it down, and